Okay, joined here with Mr. Brady Riggs. Brady, thanks for taking some time out to chat with us. I think it's going to be a valuable chat for our coaches, and just want to thank you for joining us. So, um, real quickly, getting in here, I wanted to ask you about your journey as a coach, kind of starting out, and obviously we're seeing with COVID, so many new players coming on board, and a lot of new golf coaches as well. So, would you mind just kind of telling us where you started? I guess first off, and how you started.
Yeah, I mean, like so many players, I failed, on my journey to play. So, after spending almost a lifetime trying to play, I felt pretty underqualified to do anything else but stay in golf. And I always loved teaching. I had a bunch of people that I would help along the way. Fascinated by the process of getting better myself. So, it seemed like a logical step for me to go in. Once that ended, I studied kinesiology in school, so that seemed to be a help as well. And when golf sort of the tournament side for me ended, it was just wow, what's next? And teaching seemed like an obvious decision, and it ended up being an easy step for me because it was just the same passion, just directed a little bit different direction for sure.
So take me through the process from. I mean, obviously now you're one of the most one of the more decorated coaches, especially in our section, if not nationally. How do you go from a coach starting out to then kind of improving your skills? How does that work? What's that transformation for you?
Well, I think I'm not saying we had it harder back in the old days, but I think those that are teaching now and starting out have a big advantage because the information is so much more readily available to them. You can go online and you can find out what Jamie Mulligan is teaching. You can find out the best teachers around the country are teaching, where before you could seek that information, but it was in book form or it was in a video or you had to go watch them teach. So I think from that standpoint, I think it's good for the teachers now. I mean, I think they have an advantage over us, and they've taken advantage of that. I think guys are getting better at this much quicker now than when we started. But I think with me, I wanted the information desperately. I was trying to help my own game, which started me on the journey of mechanics and going to different teachers. And then, it was just endlessly fascinating for me to do that. So along that way, I sought the help of Greg McCatton, who I absolutely adore. I think he's a treasure in our section, and if anybody gets a chance to go hang out with Greg for the day, they should not miss that opportunity. Greg's phenomenal. I worked a lot with Ben Doyle up in Northern California, another golf machine guy, and then different guys along the way. Tag Merritt down in San Diego, Fairbanks Ranch, and I went Jim Petrolia, another guy that I sought the help of. So I think like a lot of teachers of my generation, we were searching, we were looking, and we went out to the horse's mouth to find the information. And that really kind of kept my fire going because otherwise I think I would have been on my own still, and just that feedback from other people was so helpful. And it sometimes was just, hey, this is how you give a golf lesson. It wasn't just the information. It was like the rhythm of a lesson and watching somebody interact with their client and help them through the lows and highs of a lesson and stay organized. And then sometimes it was, wow, I didn't like how that guy did that. You know, I don't want to make that. I don't want to be that guy when I'm teaching. So you sort of add by subtraction sometimes too. But going out and watching people teach, I still think personally is the best way to help yourself along the way. And I think it made a big difference for me too in my journey to kind of figure out how to help people play golf better.
Brady, do you still do that? I mean, I noticed on Instagram, we'll kind of get into that maybe a little bit later on in the chat, but do you still find yourself doing that, kind of peeking and seeing what other people are doing? Or do
Oh
you?
yeah, I'm a thief. You know, I mean, I had Rick Sessenouse out here to Hawaii a few weeks ago, and it was great. I mean, hung out with Rick and stole a bunch of info from Rick, and we talked shop and how to help people do this and that. I had Preston Combs out a few days ago. That was great. It just I never have stopped wanting the information, because I want to do it better than I did it last week, and I think that's part of what makes golf still, and teaching golf, something I get up in the morning and go want to do, because I feel like I learn all the time as a teacher. I learn from my students, I learn from other teachers, I have conversations with other teachers, I watch other teachers teach still to this day, and I hope I never stop doing that. I think my experience in golf wouldn't be nearly as rich if I didn't have that input from other people on a constant basis. Because if you're not changing right now, you're getting past. You got to really be on top of it. And it can't be because you feel like you have to. It has to be because you love it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love, that, we're even chatting here, right? And the whole purpose is for us to share with each other, right? I mean, isn't
Right.
that kind of a cool thing in our industry, is that everyone is so open with the information and everyone wants everyone to get better. So, I mean, I think it's just such a neat thing. It kind of speaks to the people in our industry. It speaks to the people in our profession, and so I love that. What I'm taking away from that is, hey, don't be afraid to ask someone to go shadow, and don't be afraid to go take a lesson from someone, or whatever it is. So it seems to me like most people would be willing and happy to kind of have you come in and sit in and chat for a bit.
Anthony, I could not agree with you more. I can't think of any PGA member that would say no to somebody coming out to watch them teach. I consider it flattering, you know. It's humbling to have somebody come out and want to watch me do what I do. And I take that seriously. And I think that that goes across the board. I mean, the thing about the PGA, and I do all the PGA education classes, for adjunct faculty. And I have to say that the one thing I've said in every single class I've ever given is that the advantage the PGA has is that it's the people. The people that are involved with the PGA are genuinely really good people that really want to share and really want to help you along the way. And if it wasn't for guys like Ed Bargwin, who I consider to be one of my mentors, and somebody who helped me along the way tremendously, then I wouldn't have had nearly the success that I've had. And I try and pass that on. And if you're ever in North Carolina and you look up Ed Bargwin, who's at Duke University Club, I promise you, not only will he let you shadow you for the day, but he'll also take you to lunch, and hang out and chat with you. And I think that's not that uncommon among PGA members. I really think that as a group, it's a pretty, I don't know, it's a pretty humbling group to be with when you're talking about elite teachers and PGA members in general, because they all are really, really good dudes and women, for sure.
Awesome. So I want to get into a little bit of meat and potatoes here.
Yes.
I love the fact, and by the way, I've had the privilege of taking a lesson from you and taking a few lessons from you, and every time we've taken a lesson, you use this word organize, right? Organize in regards to the golf swing, and I love that because I haven't heard many other coaches kind of refer to the golf swing that way, and it seems to me like you are organizing it, and you do have kind of a feel for what you think works in the swing and how it should be kind of layered in there. Maybe
Right.
maybe maybe putting some words in your mouth there, but you know it a little bit hard without seeing a golf swing. But maybe talk us through what that organizational structure looks like to you.
It's a great question. And I would start out this way. And I think it kind of does talk a little bit about my journey too. So if you indulge me for a second. So I think that when we first start teaching, and this is true for me too, I made this mistake, is I started teaching what I was working on in my swing. I think it's a very common thing to do. Like, I was still searching for my own stuff and I found something, oh, this is really good. I'm going to share that with my student. And it was all in good intentions, but I was trying to give them what I was working on. So I think that's a very common starting spot and a place where people find themselves. And you can help people doing that, but you can tell that you can only help a certain percentage of people, right? And then you stumble on a pattern. It may be your own pattern. It may be a pattern you see in other players. Okay, I love the club head outside and the takeaway and the shaft going up, and I want left wrist flexion now because that's a hot thing, right? So you see all these things, and that can work. So now you're teaching not necessarily what you're working on, but a pattern that you've discovered to be successful. again, it may not work for everybody, but it can help some people, which is great. And then eventually, I think what you get to, and this is where I'm trying to always be, is you find out, wow, there's a lot of things that work. And I don't have to teach what I'm working on, and I don't have to teach what I taught that guy that helped him. I can actually help the student in front of me with what they're doing and see if I can make that work for them. And that's where I'm trying to get as a teacher. I'm trying to take every student that comes in and find out their strengths and weaknesses and organize their work with their game, so then their swing, so that it works for that specific player. So as an example, if somebody isn't very mobile, let's say they can't rotate great, and I give that player a really strong grip and I let their left wrist be in flexion at the top, they're going to have a very difficult time counteracting that left club face they're creating with rotation of their body through the ball. That's probably not going to work, and they're probably going to use a lot of shots are going to go left. They're just not going to be able to make that function. And even if they were able to make it work, it would be with such a hold on the way through that they would lose a lot of speed. So that isn't organizing that player very well. You may have them have a weaker grip. Maybe they need to use their hands and arms a little bit more. That makes sense for that player. And I think every problem sort of has that sort of routing to it. I don't expect people to come with a perfectly neutral grip, a perfectly neutral club face, swing perfectly on plane with the perfect amount of body. I mean, it's just not ever going to happen. You don't even see it on tour, right? I mean, Justin Thomas won this week with his hands very high at the top. Well, we're not supposed to be doing that anymore, right? I mean, that's not very popular right now in the world of teaching. But I just think, like, and I know it's a long answer, but I want you to, I really want to convey to people that it's okay to see swings in and of themselves, see a player as an individual, and work with that player to help them reach their goals and reach their potential. And understand that as a coach, it's really important not to just put them in to that square peg, round hole philosophy that will help only a percentage of players, but will probably not help the majority of players. I know that was a long answer, but I hope that made some sense.
No, it makes complete sense. I mean, again, it's you're exactly right, and I think for a lot of the coaches out there, you definitely see that. I mean, it's probably, I think more people teach as a system or kind of to an aesthetic as a crutch, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's great to hear you say that, and again, with my experience working with you, Brady, it's not even so much about the golf swing. It's about what is happening in your game, right? As opposed to like, okay, you kind of got the stuff you got, but you're having trouble missing the ball left. So let's work on that. Let's design a combine for that, number one. And then, let's try to get it less left and go out and play.
Yeah.
Having trouble chipping, having trouble pitching. So I think, that's maybe another thing that I think the better coaches teach is it's not just golf swing for 55 minutes and handshake in, handshake out. It is what's going on in your game, where are you missing shots, so yeah, that's great information. So the last thing is, again, with some of our newer coaches and or maybe not, maybe just coaches in general, what do you what do you see out there that kind of, I don't want to say gets under your skin, but you wish maybe was different about coaches or coaching, golf coaching in general?
Well, I think it builds on what we just talked about, which is people that have a such a specific pattern that you can tell that player by watching them swing who their coach is. That to me is, I would be horrified if that player works with Brady because I watch them swing. That means that everybody I'm teaching the exact same thing to. And I don't deny the fact that I have patterns that I seem to have more success players using. I would agree with that. But I don't want to teach everybody the same pattern. I do not want to do that. And I think one of the things that we see, and you talked about aesthetics before, is that people want it to look a certain way. And I don't care if it looks a certain way. I want it to work.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I see is because social media is just kind of the it is the monster in our business right now, right? Like it's kind of everything. If you don't have a presence, then people don't know what you're teaching. Heck, they don't even know if you exist anymore. So it's a big deal. But when people put stuff online and they do a before and after, which I have my issues with, because we didn't see the ball, right? But when they do that and then they don't even put a ball in the after swing, right? So they have the before swing and then they show the after and it's not even with a ball there. And it might even be a picture that somebody's posing. Now, if you're trying to say, hey, look, this is a place that you should be practicing from. This is a feel that you want to have. I think that's great. And I think that's a good thing for a student is to make a practice swing and show them, hey, this is what you're doing on the practice swing. It looks a little different. But that's not a before and after. That's a before and during sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's important, like, to not just put up your A roll of successes. I mean, I think for a while I was so adamant about this. I was like, my player this week missed the cut by one because they were three over the last five holes on the tour, and I feel like I failed as a coach. I wasn't able to help that player out get to reach their goal, and it's back to the drawing board. And I've got to do a better job as a coach to help my player reach success. You know, because I felt like everybody's putting out, here's my player with the trophy this week, you know, and I get that. I mean, we all want to celebrate our players' successes, but I think sometimes too that be real, be real online. If you're going to do it before and after, use a ball, right? Talk about maybe some of the things that you're struggling with as a coach. It's much more, it gives you more credibility and it gives people kind of a sense of what's really going on out there because we as coaches struggle. And I think the honesty and the transparency is something that is missing online sometimes. And I'd like to see more of it.
That's a really good answer. And I'm thinking from a student's perspective, if I'm going on someone's Instagram and all I'm seeing is like what's perceived success, and I'm not getting that when I go to see a coach, right? Gosh, you're thinking like, well, what's wrong with me? All these other people are
Right.
making look like Tiger Woods. I don't look like that. So I love that. I love that taking, your students and saying, hey, it's a process, right? It's what we're showing is maybe a little bit more pattern, feel, movement, but we're not hitting every shot perfectly. So yeah, and great kind of segue and great lead into social media, and just wanted to ask you about that, and for those of you who don't follow Brady on social media, your handle's at Red Goat, right? Is that
It
it?
is. Yes. Used to be red, Anthony. Now it's not so red anymore.
Yeah. So first thing is grab your phone and make sure you follow Brady because he is one of the best follows on social media right now. I mean, Brady, you're definitely up there as far as um, the content and stuff you're putting out. I want to talk with you a little bit because I've been following you for a couple years now, and it seems like maybe there's been a bit of an evolution there.
Mm,
And maybe talk to me about, and you kind of mentioned, hey, if you're not online, you're not doing social media, and I'm not going to say you're an old dog, but I would say you're probably giving any coach a run for their money, new, young or old, in regards to your social media stuff. So maybe talk to us a little bit about the evolution and what the value you feel social media provides.
wow, that's a great question. I would say like I'm in Hawaii now, not full time, but I'm teaching sort of here and in LA still. And when I came here, I knew that we were developing a new, we call it the Walleye Golf Holiday, because I'm at the Walleye Resort Four Seasons. So we needed a social media account. We had to have an Instagram for golf for this golf holiday, this academy that we're building here. So I knew we needed to do it. It has never been my favorite thing to do, to be a slave to social media, but I'm like, we got to get it started. So fortunately, my daughter, one of my youngest, Abby, is here with me, and she's like, I'll take care of it because she knows everything about social media. She's great, and she's put out great content on that site, and it's all educational about what's going on. And then I kind of was looking at my own stuff and saying, man, I need to probably put out some more stuff because I'm very hesitant to put it out. I don't like to self promote. It's been a problem for me for a long time. But I decided, okay, if I'm going to put stuff out, it's going to be good stuff. It's not going to be fluff. I'm not just going to put stuff out there for the sake of it. I'm going to put stuff out that has teeth, so that when somebody's watching it, they're getting something from it that is either pure entertainment, stupidity, fun, which I do occasionally, or it's very, very educational. So it may be a player that wants to improve their putting. I've got some really good combines on there that are serious instruction pieces. And then if it's swing analysis, I'm going to do serious swing analysis. I'm going to talk about it in a way, and because you've been with me on lesson tee, that I would talk about it if you were with me in person. So I'm just trying to be myself as much as I possibly can be. There'll be a week or two where I don't post. I'm like, I don't want to post. I'm not in the mood to post right now. And then I'll post 3 or 4 things in a row because I want to get this info out there that I think can be really helpful. So there's strategic planning here whatsoever. The Hawaii Golf Hallway, if you follow that on Instagram, you'll see some nice planning strategically. There's some posts and there's some IGTV and then there's some reels, and it's all really cool and done with. But my page is not like that. My page is much more granular. And I think for me, it's been a fun way for me to share information with people and building more relationships. One of the things I never really realized that was such a good thing about golf on Instagram is that, I'll have somebody message me, hey, I love your stuff. And then I'll send it back. Wow, I like your stuff too. All of a sudden I have sort of a connection with somebody that I didn't have before because I'm posting something on social media. So I know it has its drawbacks, and I am leery about it. I don't want to be that guy that's putting out so much content that people are going, oh, Red Goat's posting again. I don't want to watch another one of those. But I think if it's real and it's stuff that I believe in, then I think it does get people to understand what I'm trying to do to help, And I think from that standpoint, it's been a positive for me the last few months to be a little bit more involved in it. And I plan on kind of keeping the same tempo. You might see a post twice a week, and then you may not see one for a couple of weeks. But every time I put something out there, just know that I really think it's important to put out there.
Love that. And, I think from a coach's perspective, and, I can definitely see and feel a lot of people are a little bit leery. They don't really know what to put out there. And I can, from what I'm getting out of this, Brady, is you're kind of putting stuff out from the heart, what you feel is important, maybe stuff that you're not really seeing out there. So yeah, great info. Anything else you want to share with us? Anything you want to, we'd love to see a little bit more of that golf holiday. It looks like a great place to be. Before we sign off, any parting words or messages?
No, I just echo again, Anthony, what you said, which is I think those of us that have been around now, and I consider myself not old, but I'm past the middle, I'm 52 now. I've been in the business a long time. I've made a million mistakes. I've screwed up so many ways, but I think genuinely I've always tried to be the best I could be at what I'm doing. We want to share, I challenge anybody, if you want to get better, please reach out to, it doesn't have to be me, any one of the PGA members in our section that is out there doing their job and busting their butts and getting sunburned, hopefully not so bad anymore because we're smart about that, right? But just trying to get out there and work and perfect what they're doing all the time and learning. They want to share. We want to give you guys the info. We want to help you. And we're not hoarding information, and we don't think we know it all. Honestly, I mean, sometimes I get stuff from the people I'm supposed to be helping. So it's a win-win for everybody. So if anybody wants to come out, please come to Hawaii, hang out with me in Hawaii. Come to Hanson Dam in beautiful Pacoima, California, where Anthony and I have spent some time, or just reach out by phone, send me a text, follow me on Instagram, whatever. We're here I want to help. I really do. I want that to be something that I spend the last part of my career here doing is just trying to help people enjoy teaching more.
Brady, again, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for sharing some of your insight and wisdom with us, and look forward to seeing more success out there in Hawaii, and seeing you soon.
Indeed. Thank you, Anthony.
Okay. Thanks, Brady. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.